You are Locked On Wolves POSTCAST, part of Locked On Minnesota on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Wolves, Thunder, everything we wanted that Jake Paul fight to be and more. Anthony Edwards, the knockout three-pointer with 37 seconds left. They upset OKC 112-107. That's your final. What's going on back in the lab? Back at it. Another T-Wolves postcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which, by the way, thanks to you guys, now the #1 sports podcast network. That's Jack Borman, Wolves expert, NBA expert. Give him a follow on X at JRBorman13, Luke Inman at Luke_Spinman. Quick plug as well. Go follow our guy, Ben Beacon, host of the Locked On Timberwolves show. And remember to like and subscribe. Lots to get into here, Jack. What a game. What a game. Player of the game. We're going to hand that one out. Biggest X factor plus what we'll be talking about tomorrow. But first, just off the top, man, Wolves obviously taking on the best in the biz here. They're right in the middle of this 5-game homestand. Thunder on the second night of a back-to-back. Keep that in mind. Wolves also getting Anthony Edwards back, of course, after that 3-game absence. And this one just had all the fireworks I was expecting to see in this Jake Paul fight, Jack. Chris Finch ejected in the first quarter, half the Target Center trying to hold him back from the refs straight out of the WWE. You're getting locked out post-game. It felt like the fix was in. Wolves rally back, though, from down 12, despite – I mean, really, Jack, we'll get into it. Some serious hiccups in crunch time down the stretch, but they do find their way to victory, taking down the best team in the NBA. 112-107, 18-10 now on the year. Ant with 26, Rudy with 15 boards, Julius with 8 assists. But this was a total team effort tonight, which, again, we'll dive into. But as we always do, big picture reaction, Jack. What's a victory like this do for this Wolves team right now, 28 games into the season?
Yeah, I think it does a lot for a Wolves team that just really needed a good vibes win. And they certainly got one tonight at Target Center. But I kind of found myself in the third quarter when the Timberwolves were just kind of playing with a swagger and a confidence that we haven't seen from them in a while. And they were sharing the ball really well. And I just thought that this team, I just kind of found myself thinking, like, this team hates the Thunder. Mm-hmm. They absolutely hate them. And it brings out a level of competitive fire that I think this team really needed to play with coming off of that Memphis game the other night. And it reminds me a lot of how the Timberwolves really kind of started to mix it up with Denver a few years ago, right? This is a team in Oklahoma City that, like Denver, is in the Northwest Division, so they see them 4 times a year, and lost to them in a tight, a playoff series that had some, pretty competitive games in it, despite it being, a 5 or 6 game series. And it's just a situation where the Wolves are not scared of the Thunder whatsoever. And I think that you have a player in Anthony Edwards that, despite Oklahoma City having, kind of the horses that you need to be able to make it tough on Ant, I don't think they have an individual player that can just take him out of the game, like Denver didn't have for Anthony Edwards. And I'm not saying now that the Wolves are going to go on and beat Oklahoma City 9 times in a row or whatever it is, but I'm just saying it reminds me a lot of the origin story that you had with that kind of rivalry. And I think that it's going to be just really fun to follow how these two teams match up against each other coming out of this, because I think, the last game they played in Oklahoma City was an all-out war. And I think that, again, every time you play Oklahoma City, you kind of learn what works and what doesn't. And I think, anytime you get to go up against the best team in the NBA, you get a chance to learn something about yourselves. And I think the Wolves learned that they're certainly capable of beating this team. And if I'm, looking at Oklahoma City as a potential playoff opponent, like, there's no reason for the Wolves to be scared of them at all. And that's with all due respect to the Thunder. They're very clearly the best team in the NBA, and they've, have been on a historic tear here to start the season. But I just think that the Wolves have what they need to be able to beat the Thunder, and whether or not they could do that over a 7-game series remains to be seen. But again, it just reminds me a lot of kind of that Denver Wolves rivalry origin story.
Yeah, you definitely see the shades of resemblance there for sure. Great shout out on that. 3-point game, right, with 5 minutes to go. Just real quick, walk me through those last few minutes as the Target Center was on their feet in the game of the season at home anyways. Yeah, just walk me through those last couple minutes because, again, a back and forth, very up and down roller coaster 5 minutes for both teams, really, Jack.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it kind of starts, right at that 5 minute mark. You're in clutch time, and I think SGA makes a shot to cut it to 3, and you're just kind of saying, "Oh boy, like here we go," right? And the Wolves had 5 straight scoreless possessions in crunch time that were just absolutely terrible for my money. You had Nas turnover when he was doubled in the post. Then you had Ant come down and just take a terrible 3, step back 3, 0 pass possession. Rudy gets a loose ball foul. Come back down. Jaden has a turnover. And then come back down again. Ant has this really bad kind of nail isolation in the post with Dort on him, shoots just a dead duck over him. And then, the Wolves have another possession that comes up empty after that. And you're kind of saying, oh boy, the Thunder have a 2-point lead here. What's going to happen? The Thunder are getting offensive rebounds on the other end of the floor. And, Mike Inori decides to go offense defense and puts Julius Randle in, and Julius Randle, the Wolves are in the bonus, draws a foul, gets the free throw line, then dumps one off for Naz Reid. He gets a score. And I think that just kind of settled things down a little bit. And I think, Ant really did not play with a very high basketball IQ and that part of the clutch time. But what you love about Anthony Edwards is he's not going to be deterred, right? And I think when he senses the moment, he wants to be a part of it and he wants to make it his. And he rose to meet that moment. And again, having that massive step back 3, people on media row sitting next to me were just like, don't settle for a 3. Don't settle for a 3. And then what does Ant do? Step back 3 that's just butter. And then what does he do on the other end of the floor, right? He gets in a stance, he defends, and then he has an awesome help possession and blocks SGA at the rim, and then gets a super contested rebound for for Ant, which was his, I believe, 12th rebound of the game. And he had 11 defensive rebounds. A lot of them were contested. It's just exactly what you need from a guy to help close out a game. So I think the way that Ant rallied after a really lackluster start to the crunch time, with just objectively poor decision making and bad basketball was just tremendous. And Target Center was on fire, which was awesome.
Yeah, game of the year thus far through 28 games. When talking about, again, T-Wolves games at the Target Center, that place was on fire tonight, as they should have been. Let's get into our player of the game. Hand out some flowers here, Jack.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
All right, tonight's player of the game for the Wolves. Who was it and why? Let's hear it, Jack.
Yeah, despite having 26 points, 12 rebounds in his return, 5 stocks in his return from a 3-game absence, Ant does not get player of the game tonight. I'm going to give the player of the game tonight to Rudy Gobert. I think Rudy Gobert was the entire reason why the Wolves were in this game in the second quarter. I mean, his defense in the main part of the second quarter that just kept Oklahoma City at bay and allowed the Wolves to cobble together points off the bottom of the barrel to just stay within striking distance was really important. And I think when you have stars like Anthony Edwards and a high volume 3-point shooter who can really turn it on, in Dante DiVincenzo or Bones Highland, I think you just need to have a floor raiser that keeps you in the game. And that was exactly what Rudy Gobert did. I mean, there was a point in the second quarter with Rudy Gobert on the floor where over a 5-minute stretch, the Thunder scored 6 points on 2 of 11 shooting, and they had 5 turnovers in that second quarter. And Rudy was a huge part of that. They shot 5 of 20 in that second quarter, 2 of 10 from 2. And again, Rudy was just at the center of it. And then, Rudy, oddly enough, he had 14 rebounds halfway through the third quarter and then didn't play a ton down the stretch the rest of the game. So sat there, but it was his 4th straight game with 12 rebounds. He's been, rebounding his tail off. And I thought he grabbed a lot of rebounds tonight. He didn't try to tip them to other people. I think the way that he just played with force on the interior, especially on the glass, is exactly what they need from him. And was really pivotal in this game. And I think, again, against Oklahoma City, what do you need to do? You need to not get totally blown out in the paint. They didn't. They were a -6 in the paint. Oklahoma City, for reference, this season is like +14 in the paint per game, which is number 1 in the league by a wide margin. You need to win the 3-point line. The Wolves won the 3-point line by 6 points tonight. You need to dominate second chances. The Wolves had 5 more offensive rebounds and 8 more second chance points than Thunder did tonight. And then you need to take care of the ball. And the Wolves had more turnovers than the Thunder by 1, but they allowed 6 extra points off of turnovers, which they made up on the offensive glass and on the 3-point line. So I think the formula to beat the Thunder is pretty simple. It's kind of like a math test, right? If you had the answers to a math test, but you still have to show your work. I mean, it's still hard enough to try to get there, right? And that's kind of how it is with the Thunder. So again, just great that the Wolves were able to pull that out, and Rudy Gobert was at the heart of it with how dominant he was on the interior.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
All right, down 10 after the first quarter, really down 12 couple minutes into that second quarter. Fight their way back. They go down 3 into halftime into that locker room. Take it from there, though, Jack. Like, was there one, moment or sequence that really ended up feeling like the difference and kind of when they put it all together as you were sitting there watching in real time?
Yeah, I mean, I tweeted it, in the middle of the third quarter, and it felt kind of crazy saying it, but I feel like Bones Highland is almost single-handedly kind of improved the overall vibes and outlook of the Timberwolves team right now. Like, he's just making it more fun for his teammates to play basketball alongside him, and the fans are certainly taking to him. And he had the crowd kind of in the palm of his hand all night long, which was fun to see. But it was a specific moment where the Wolves were kind of letting go of the rope. So in the third quarter, like I said, they were playing with a lot of swag, a lot of confidence. But SGA and Jalen Williams started kind of cooking from 3, getting in their isolation bag, and the Thunder built a 7-ish point lead, kind of 3/4 of the way through the third quarter, and then Bones made a 3 at the 1:28 mark of the third quarter, and then forced a turnover on the other side that resulted in TJ Shannon free throws, stealing it from SGA. And it was an 8-2 run to tie the game at 83 right before I think it was Caruso made a couple free throws at the end of the third quarter. And that momentum just totally sustained into the fourth quarter. And they had Ant starting the fourth quarter. We'll get into that a little later. But yeah, I just thought that was for sure the turning point. And it was a good time to give a shout out to Tim Connolly's number 8 overall draft pick last year, Bones Highland. That's how we're doing that. Great.
If we just look at it that way, though,
it's a great pick for my money.
It does feel a lot better. Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
feel a lot
and
better.
Again for Bones, it was kind of surprising that Bones didn't get any run really after that. 13 points, 4 of 6 from 3, and 3 assists and 3 stocks. So it was a really impactful effort from Bones in his first game back off the bench.
All right, plenty more deep dive from this one. Biggest X factor plus what we'll be talking about tomorrow. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, tonight's episode brought to us by Monarch Money. Monarch Money, you ever go check your bank account and go, where'd my money go? Dining out, online shopping, entertainment, so easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. Not just another budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, your investments, your spending. It's all in one place. You stop just managing your money, and instead you start building some wealth. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your entire first year. This episode also brought to us by Prize Picks. Without a doubt, most fun I have playing daily fantasy. You can win up to 25 times your money. And why I love it, so easy to play. All you got to do, you select 2 or more players. You pick more or less. Points, rebounds, assists, 3-pointers, you name it, they got it. Plus, they now offer Apple Pay. Quick and easy deposits into your account all season long. Right now, go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA. Use the code LockedOnNBA. First deposit match up to $100. That's promo code LockedOnNBA at prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA. 100% bonus match up to $100. All right, just real quick before we get into the what we'll be talking about, I did want to run through our biggest X factor from tonight here, Jeff.
It's time to reveal who made the biggest under-the-radar impact with today's X Factor.
Couple different ways you could go. You already mentioned Bones Highland, but make it official. Biggest X factor tonight in this one, Jack. Who was it and why?
Yeah, for me, it was Dante DiVincenzo. I think for Dante, again, when you're playing against a team like Oklahoma City that's going to play boxes and elbows against Anthony Edwards and try to put two on the ball when they can, that guy that's one pass away is going to be a major pressure release in the slot, and that guy is Dante DiVincenzo. And that's a huge reason why Dante entered the starting lineup over Mike Conley last season when he did. Was because Ant was getting doubled. They needed a guy to shoot threes right next to Ant. He goes 1 of 5 in the first half on pretty darn good looks. And he's the first guy out of the locker room well before his teammates shooting threes on the end of the court that they're going to be shooting on in the second half. And then right away out of the halftime break, goes 2 of 3 from 3 in the first 90 seconds to just put a ton of juice in the building. And I thought, again, he was flying around defensively, and I thought he was really competitive on the glass, had a couple of monster rebounds and kind of taps then, in that fourth quarter that I thought were really important to close out stops. And again, a plus 12 in his 33 minutes tonight has just kind of been at the heart of a lot of what the Timberwolves good has been, over the last few weeks here.
A quick rapid fire. Just talk to me about Julius Randle and also on the other coin, I guess, Rob Dillingham as well. The good, the bad, the ugly, Julius and Rob Dillingham. What'd you see tonight? Just some quick hitters.
Yeah, I think for Julius, the stat line doesn't look great, right? He had 19 points, but he was 3 of 15 from the floor tonight. He was 2 of 11 from 2. And he had, he did have 8 rebounds in this game. And for Julius in the game tonight, what do you have? I think he had, I think he had 5 offensive rebounds in this game. A few of them were off of his own misses. And so I liked some of the physicality that he brought inside, but it was the second straight game where he's just been inefficient as a scorer and a playmaker, just trying to do a little bit too much in the paint. I want to see him try to get back to what he was for the majority of the first couple months of the season as a guy that gets into the lane, draws 2 and kicks the ball out for open threes and kind of gets the defense in rotation rather than living and dying with a ton of physicality in the paint. But again, got to the free throw line 16 times. Wolves shot 47 free throws tonight. I haven't looked that up, but I'm sure that's a season high for them. And again, I think it was not a great Julius game by any stretch of the imagination. And I agreed with the decision to close with Naz Reid over him down the stretch of this game. But the way that he came back in with a little under 3 minutes left in that small ball lineup and right away was impactful. Drew a foul, made both free throws, got the ball to Naz and a dump off in front of the rim for a bucket, and then ended with the 2 free throws to help put the Wolves up 3 before that final defensive possession was super important. So I love the way that he responded.
Let's get into what we'll be talking about tomorrow.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Just feels like, Jack, in games like these especially, you got to have a closer. You got to have that X factor dude, that guy who wants the rock, puts the team on his back. And you kind of either got it or you don't, right? It's just almost like a genetic thing. It's so hard to scout. That it factor, though, Anthony Edwards, as we all know, clearly has that. Your thoughts on Anthony Edwards?
Yeah, he certainly has it, man. He's going to have to play in 45 of the remaining 54 games to maintain eligibility for the postseason awards. I think he'll be able to do that. Yeah. Just really makes you appreciate how much he and Randall are both really available. But I just think Anthony Edwards, when he kind of said as his rookie, right, when there's some money on the line, I'm going to go do it, right? And I think Ant at times can get bored with some of these regular season games because he's tasted some of the highest highs in the playoffs, and I understand that, but for Ant, I just think he's like the ultimate trump card, right? I think when there is a game of massive consequence, Anthony Edwards almost always shows up and he almost always shows out. And I think the way that he's able to just take control, no matter how he's played earlier on in the game or 2 minutes before in the game, like we saw tonight, and his ability to just have a short memory, flush it, and kind of treat each possession as an independent trial that isn't connected to one another. When things are going poorly, and then be able to just ride the momentum and the wave when things are going great, I think is just super special. And we've seen it in the playoffs. It's a big reason why he's been a playoff riser. I think when you just allow him to focus on one team, one defense, it's been great. And I just think again, it's just that sense the moment intangible and not being scared of it and running towards it and being willing to have and want the ball in those situations, and then rise rise to meet it is super important. And I think, again, the Wolves just fought like hell on the defensive end of the floor tonight. And I feel like they deserved to win this game for the way that they fought. And thankfully they had, a superstar that was able to make up for, 3.5 minutes of pretty bad basketball in crunch time to get them over the line because they deserved it. And these fans were awesome tonight. They deserved it. So a very fun win at Target Center, and hopefully more of a sign of things to come here.
An eraser, right? To be able to be a guy that erases 3.5 minutes of bad play in crunch time versus that team, that's one of one, man. That's the unique specimen right there. Great stuff. As always, Jack. T-Wolves upset the big dogs, handing OKC just their third loss of the season. 112-107, that's your final. 18-10 now on the year. Much love to all you guys, all the everydayers out there that always make us your first listen. All you guys coming in the chat with us. Chat was on fire tonight, per usual. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, go follow Jack at JR Borman 13. We'll catch you back here in 2 days. Sunday against the Bucks, back at home. Game 4 of 5 at home, 6 p.m. tip. Until then, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time. Signing out.